Last time I made the ground cover. Now this stop motion set needs trees. Here's the plan. I decided on 4 local trees: beech, oak, hornbeam, and ash. As a leaf lass, my decision to make these trunks with no canopy was not taken lightly. I learned my lesson in Stars of Stone. The leaves were messy, they fell, moved between frames, and cast problematic shadows. But I figure, since the trees will be so big, the canopy won't be in my planned frames anyways. So I'll just leave them off my big bear trunks. I plan to make simple tree shapes on this wooden stick thing, which I think is a yarn holder stand. For branches, I'll use these little wooden stirring sticks that I can just tape together. For the bulk of the armature, I'll use masking tape and brown paper packing if saved up. Then I'll cover it all with air dry clay. Let's go. A little reused plastic wrap keeps the clay from sticking to my wooden stick thing, and my armature slots right on top. The base is pretty simple. I keep adding little sticks wherever I'd like a branch, and build up on top of that with more tape and paper. Sorry I got this light in frame, I just put a bird on it. I used this terracotta air dry clay I already had open and rolled it out. I blended the edges together with plenty of water. Although I could go faster with polymer clay and it could hold more details, it's way more expensive and these big trees would have to fit in my oven. This spray bottle is MVP. It's winter here, so the air is dry and I have to constantly spray the clay or I get cracks in moments. After about 5 days, the clay is dry. I put a bag over the top to help the trees dry more evenly and reduce cracking.
It's like me doing a thing in normal times. It's like, that's easy. And then me trying to do a thing in front of a camera. It's like constant disaster. So huge props to makers who make this work. All is dead. What am I doing, kids? What am I doing? Oh, oh, oh. Do 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 do. I hate it, but that's fine. Just gonna pour some glue all over this and hope I don't crush the rest. Let it infiltrate, and then I'm gonna put some tape over it. Hope that it does what it needs to do in here. Come on, you PVA.
I had to make a bargain. I ended up adding hot glue to the party, and maybe one day I can film that without disaster.
I'm wearing my partner's old lab coat. This is only going well. It's covered in stains. Because I'm a little messy monster. I'm a gremlin. I'm a gremlin. PVA. And a random assortment of acrylic paints. They're base coated. Alright, time to get moving.
It's trickier to ID trees in winter when they have no leaves, so I recruited some help.
Which one?
And first we've got an ash. They have craggly gray bark with thick, deep cracks. But they begin pretty smooth in their youth. The beech trees keep a few nice reddish leaves through winter. It has smooth bark, mottled or banded silvery with gray or brown. I think the hornbeams are my favorite. They have these greenish patches on the bark that I am definitely playing up. To me though, the whole tree looks a bit dehydrated. Here's a good oak. The bark isn't very colorful though, so I'll fix that. Full confession, I am weak to Van Dyke Red, so this is my oak color now. I give the whole tree a base coat and then add a few touch-ups. I paint on all the little bark craquelures in a lighter brown on top. Finally, a couple layers of a very pale wash, just to draw the colors together. Here's the beech done. It looks more like a birch, too bad, but the hornbeam looks great. I sculpted this tree thinking about the twisting Australian eucalypts, but the shape worked well for the ash also. This paint job was similar to the oak, a dark background and a paler grey for the crackles. They all look pretty good, but there's some cracks I need to deal with. If only I could cover them with something natural looking. Wow. Back at the ranch, I'm cooking up a fresh batch of green goop using flocking and glue and buttering it up on my trees. I've seen this crafting staple on Hanna-Barbera and Studson Studio,
And I'm super glad.
among many others. Oh, I can't make trees without mushrooms. I sculpted these little guys out of polymer clay and painted them with acrylic paint. I attached them with my green stuff epoxy that I've had for about a decade.
I use about this much of it each time.
Let's see how they work in the scene.
So here's the base. I really haven't had the heart to cut it yet. But here's the felt. I need to get the trees to stand on top, which is not obvious. So here's how I solved it. I took a piece of foam insulation, the same stuff that I used for the base, cut it down to size, and used some pins to hold it in place. Pins are nice and long, they stick all the way through, and this stuff is easy to shape.
So I made this forbidden sandwich using insulation foam, hot glue, paper and pins, more hot glue, and more paper.
Without this paper, when you try to put it on, they'll just push out. This is probably right in. So it's kind of non-trivial because these bases are not all the same diameter the whole way up. They don't fall. Yay! Okay, so nobody fell. That's good news. I don't have to cut holes in my felt to decide where I position them. I can move them if I need to put my camera in frame. Okay, I love them. And they're gonna be great. I'm going to do set dressing around the bottoms of these with like clump bushes and things like that, but I'm gonna wait until the rest of my scene is in place so I can make sure everything looks consistent.
Don't forget to leave a like if you enjoyed this, and if you're interested in joining me on future videos, subscribe and hit that bell. Thank you to my patrons and to you for watching. Have a great day.
The beech is forageable. It's
That's
kind of furry.
the fruit, and inside the fruit is kind of a tiny chestnut that you can eat. It's called fen.
Cheers!
Cheers.
Mmm.